What's up, coolest subscribers on earth? It's your boy Brian, your friendly neighborhood motorcycle maniac, back at it again with another dose of two-wheeled tech talk and tomfoolery. Today, we are tackling a question that's been burning brighter than my bottom after a day at the track. Is the Ducati Hypermotard 698 actually fast? The answer is, of course, a question. Is the Hypermotard 698 a Ducati? Yeah, let's do work. Now, before you grab your pitchforks and head to the comments section, hear me out. This little Ducati gets a lot of flack for its single-cylinder engine. People keep saying it's just a glorified dirt bike, bruh. Well, folks, let me tell you something. A glorified dirt bike can be a whole lot of fun, especially when they have a name like Hypermotard, and especially when they have a DNA transplant from a flippin' MotoGP bike. That's right, the secret sauce behind the Hypermotard's surprising speed lies at its heart. A cutting-edge 698cc single-cylinder engine derived from the legendary Ducati 1299 Panigale. We're talking technology straight out of MotoGP, like a desmodromic valve system and a trick counterbalancer shaft for smooth power delivery. The result? A claimed 77.5 horsepower and 46.5 pound-feet of torque, which might not sound earth-shattering on paper, but crammed into the Hypermotard's banter-weight 333-pound chassis, it translates into some serious zip. This little whippersnapper flings itself from 0 to 60 faster than you can say "hold my not Bud Light." Now, I haven't been able to run a proper 0 to 60 on this bike yet because I can't keep the front tire down, but I will be making a 0 to 60 video as soon as I get more miles under my belt, so keep it locked into Ducati Diaries. To share my points of reference on this bike, I've owned a Honda CBR 600RR, a 2010 Yamaha R1, a Ducati Monster S4R, a Monster 950, a 2015 Ducati Diavo, a 2020 Ducati Diavo, and I currently own a 2023 Ducati Diavo V4, a Hypermotard 950, a 2022 Street Fighter V4S tuned to 240 horsepower, a Moto Guzzi V4 Carbon Dark, an MV Agusta Brutale 1000 RS, and a Multistrada V4S, and probably some I'm forgetting about, and most of those were bought in the past several years, showing two things. One, I'm stupidly bad with money, and two, I have a lot of experience on different platforms to understand and articulate my experience on the Hypermotard 698 Mono in terms of speed and acceleration. So yeah, that 77.5 horsepower isn't quite as wicked as my 240 horsepower Street Fighter, but speed isn't just about horsepower, my friends. It's about how a bike puts down that power to the ground and has fun doing it. The Hypermotard 698 boasts a high-performance gearbox with the smoothest Ducati quickshift I've ever felt for seamless gear changes, allowing you to unleash its fury with smooth precision. And let's not forget the magic of its lightweight chassis. This bike speeds through corners like a two-wheeled Blue Angel. It's flickable, responsible, and begs to be pushed to its limits, all the way to 10,250 RPM, heretofore unheard of in a single cylinder, by the way. I am serious. When you walk into your garage, the bike stares you down and asks you, "Do you want to be a hooligan today?" And no matter your age, you assuredly agree. Sure, a leader bike might leave you in the dust on a long straight, but on a twisty back road, the Hypermotard will have you giggling with glee, while those rosy-cheeked leader bike riders are going to be trying to catch up. Look, I'm not going to lie. This bike isn't going to outrun a Hayabusa on the highway. It's not going to win a drag race against a crotch rocket with a rider who eats nothing but kale and rage. But it is fast. It can get you up to highway speed near instantly, and it can pass cars with ease at highway speeds if you need to. It can actually be scary pinning the throttle on the highway and speeding up to a completely legal speed limit. Okay, maybe temporarily and slightly above, cough, triple digits, cough, cough, in Mexico, cough. Was that not convincing? This rocket rips, my dudes. I am not kidding. It pulls all the way up to the red line like a proper Ducati should in every gear all across the rev range. Yes, not with the 93 pound-feet of torque my Ducati Diavo has, but the 698 will relentlessly pull you up to 100 miles per hour and keep surprising you as it did me every time you pin the throttle. Part of that thrill is that the bike is so light, you're not sure if you're going to take flight at any second, accelerating to high speeds. But the bike does stay planted, except for first gear. This bike will come up with ease if you're not smooth with the throttle. Again, that's part of the fun though. This bike is fast, not Street Fighter fast, but here's the thing. Speed isn't everything and the 698 knows it. The Hypermotard 698 is like a hyperactive puppy in the best way possible. It's got this peppy, responsive engine that begs you to twist the throttle, like literally, you'll be pinning the throttle at every single stop sign, just like I do. This little thing scoots. Suddenly that slow poke in the left lane doesn't seem so bad when you can just zip around them like a caffeinated mosquito. Now I keep saying the little thing, but you might need a step ladder to get on this bike with its 35.6-inch seat height. So even me at 6'1" and 215 pounds, I don't feel small in this bike because it is very tall, which is great to see above other cars in front of you for safety safety. And by the way, even with my higher weight, I get thrown back in my seat every time I twist the throttle, so if you're a bigger guy, there's plenty of fun for you too on this platform. Now let's talk about wheelies, folks. This bike practically wheelies itself with a good yank on the clutch. And if you got the full exhaust and the whole wheelie app thing, it actually does wheelie for you, which is crazy. But I digress. Now don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating reckless riding, but let's be honest, a little controlled wheelie action is pure unadulterated fun, especially when you can blame it on the bike. Picture this, the boys in blue pull you over, and you can tell them that this bike actually wheelies itself, which it does if you didn't know. All you have to do is pull the throttle, and this bike will hold you in a wheelie, which is crazy. Anyway, I digress again. I'm so excited. Look, at the end of the day, speed is a relative term. Sure, a leader bike might leave you in the dust on a straight shot, but who wants to spend all day in a straight road anyway? The Hypermotard 698 is about the pure joy of riding. It's about carving corners, popping wheelies responsibly, and experiencing the thrill of the ride. And let's not forget, it looks like $1,000,000, especially with this RVE livery. Just for fun, even though these are different bikes, it may help you to decide if this bike is fast enough for you if I rank it among my bikes. Let's rank my bikes for acceleration from 0 to, let's say, around 45 miles per hour. In other words, the kind of low to mid-range speeds. I would say firstly and slowest, but no slouch by the way, was my Moto Guzzi V7 Carbon Dark. They have, by the way, increased the displacement of these by about 100 cc's, so they're faster now. Second place would be my 2008 CBR 600RR, followed by the MV Agusta Brutale 1000 RS, and before you attack me with your ravenous shark fangs in the comments, that is only because most of the power in the Brutale is in the upper RPM. Next would be the Multistrada V4S, then the Hypermotard 698, then the Monster 950, then the Street Fighter V4S, then the Hypermotard 950, this thing has crazy amounts of torque, and then the Diavos. Now, 0 to 100 would be different. The Street Fighter and the Brutale would take over. But for just hooning around at street speeds, I put the Hyper 698 somewhere in the middle of all those bikes I've owned, for what it's worth. Now don't be that guy saying in the comments, "You compared the Hypermotard to a Diavo, how stupid you are!" Shush up your face. This is a fun channel, and we have fun here. And if you're like me, and you love all types of bikes, then my advice might just help you out. So settle down, Beavis. So this bike doesn't punch your face throwing you off the back seat like the 950 does. I mean, that bike is literally insane, but it does give you a strong, linear power delivery, pulling you under a moderate amount of G-force all the way up to top speed, all the way across the RPM, and across all 6 gears. So is the Ducati Hypermotard 698 fast? Well, that depends on your definition of fast. It might not be the fastest bike on the block, but it sure as heck knows how to have a good time. Ultimately, go test ride this bike out for yourself to see if it's fast enough for you, but in the meantime, hopefully these insights were helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more motorcycle madness, and let me know in the comments below what you think about the Hypermotard 698. Is it fast, or is it just a glorified dirt bike? Until next time, stay safe, brothers and sisters, ride hard, and remember, sometimes the most fun comes in the most unexpected packages. And always remember the motto, always be kinder than necessary, and I will see you in the next one. I love you guys.